What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the OddsShopper channel, coming to you with a Monday Night Football edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Good content and fast content, because that's what this is going to be. One game to rule them all, one game to find them, and wouldn't you know it, 14 and a half, 15 points, depending on where you're looking. That is the spread we are looking at. Basically a college football spread. Are they playing Boise State out there? No, it's Green Bay taking on New Orleans in Lambeau Field. A little bit of snow in the forecast, 32 degrees at kickoff. Going to be lovely. We're going to watch it. We're going to gamble on it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a lean like lock for you here that I've broken down. We'll talk about tails here a little bit later as well. But Devon Achane, you're a real one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, Joe Burrow cashed 3 touchdowns. I mean, plus money now to still just get over 2.5 touchdowns there as he's trying to keep Higgins and Chase alongside him. Glad I added that to the card, added T. Higgins as well. Overall, pretty flat little Sunday for me. Was looking for a little bit more out of it. Obviously, that total did not get there from Vegas and from Jacksonville because it's Vegas and Jacksonville. So why would they do the things we expect them to do? Sure, they're going to both go for like 70 next week. Wait, Vegas plays New Orleans next week. Don't ask me how I know that. Oh, yeah, because I broke this one down. Wanted to look at things ahead of time. Producer Jacob. What am I doing? Let's get to the picks. The New Orleans Saints taking on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. 14 and a half. There's actually a 15 that, again, don't bet it. It's like minus 125. It's just ridiculous stuff. But my dear sweet Lord, what are we even doing here? This is just an absurd football game to be staring down the barrel of, but we're going to break it down, the ins and outs, and I think the first thing I want to start off with is how good the NFC North is. When you have a 13-2 Detroit Lions team, a 13-2 Minnesota Vikings team, and then you've got Green Bay just sitting in the doldrums at 10-4, you've got a real division. In fact, it shouldn't surprise anybody. Green Bay, third best strength of schedule, third most difficult strength of schedule so far this season. They've got passing game pieces that are all healthy right now in Reed, Watson, Dobbs, even Dontavian Wicks back there, Tucker Kraft. I mean, it's absurd. And of course, Josh Jacobs, bell cow galore. But now we have to start looking ahead to the schedule. And I brought up, if you guys listen to the intro, New Orleans is going to take on Vegas. That's just the stuff you kind of remember here coming up in week 17. Green Bay takes on Minnesota next week in Minnesota. That one is going to be out of control. I cannot wait to watch that football game, not just because I'm a Minnesota fan, but I'm a fan of good football, and there's no doubt these are two of the brightest coaches that we got going right now on both sides of that one. So I'm very excited about it. Now, the one thing I will say, it always makes me nervous when you talk about special teams, because if you just rank out the team grades, and then this is backed up by PFF, 32nd in special teams are the Green Bay Packers. They've had not tons of kicking issues because Brandon McManus has now come in and figured things out for them, shored up that position a little bit. But punting game, kicking game, not something I really cover all that much, but it is a glaring issue on this football team, and that can always swing a possession here, swing a possession there. And then the New Orleans side, they're pretty flat in that regard. But overall, we're talking about two drastically different teams when you talk about the health here, because not only do they have all of their offensive skill pieces there, but defensively, they get Jair Alexander. He's been back, and he's just up to no good once again. You got McKinney out there roaming the desert. He's been incredible, but Jair Alexander questionable, but expected to play as of right now. I will update you if anything changes there, but who would he potentially even have to worry about covering? Let me cover the wide receiver position for the New Orleans Saints. Last week, week 15, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, cast off from the Green Bay Packers and Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills, 78% of snaps led the entire team. Number 2 was Kevin Austin Jr. Kevin Austin Jr. He played 75% of the snaps. Dante Pettis, 47%. You had Cedric Wilson out there, cast off from Miami once upon a time, 36% of snaps. This is not a functional football team. Not only that, they were finding ways to be makeshift effective on the offensive end with Taysom Hill. Well, with him out for the season, well, there's Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau. You guys have fun with that. Oh, did I even mention that they're down to like basically their third string quarterback, where Spencer Rattler, I think Jake Haener is better from what I've seen so far. In fact, we got Spencer Rattler benched last week, 62% of snaps for him. This is just abysmal. There's no question that New Orleans, if they don't do anything, like this would have to be an extremely, extremely low scoring game, I think, for New Orleans to walk out of here remotely competitive. Because offensively, no Alvin Kamara, they've been without Chris Olave basically all season. Rashid Shaheed, they were up to no good with those guys right from the get-go. And it's just crazy to see how far down the totem pole New Orleans has fallen. But with that said, let's get to some gambling, shall we? Because there's a guy that I didn't even know existed. I had to update everything in my sheet to kind of like figure out what the snap count looks like if Green Bay is up 3-4 scores. How far down the list are we going to go? And Emmanuel Wilson was not the RB2 that stepped up for me. Now, I will say Josh Jacobs has been very, very impressive for Green Bay this season. We've seen multiple times, whether it was Seattle or everything in recent weeks has been so pro Josh Jacobs, as it should be. He's helped Jordan Love out through some struggles in the early portion of the season, coming off of that week 1 fluke injury at the end of the Philadelphia game. But I think no matter what, we are going to see Chris Brooks be the backup running back to Josh Jacobs. In fact, that's kind of the pecking order and the way that it flipped starting in week 8 of this season. Chris Brooks, I'm expecting to be higher than plus 600 when these odds drop. And I think Chris Brooks is going to potentially be an anytime touchdown bet for me. When you're talking about 2, 3, 4 touchdowns, light snow up there in Green Bay, and you're trying to give the ball somebody that isn't Josh Jacobs and you want to get him on ice as fast as possible, having to take on Minnesota with 1 fewer day of rest. Yeah, Chris Brooks could see more work in this kind of a spot. Now, he hasn't gotten many carries lately. He's been in the backfield a lot, but I think this is kind of a change for that. We see a 21-3, a 28-3 type game in that third quarter. Chris Brooks is going to look really good at plus 650 because he's going to go on to go get himself a Christmas time touchdown. So Chris Brooks, if you see better than plus 600, yeah, that's the legit number I'm expecting here. I think it's playable. So get ready to fire that one up. As for the again, these are the things that I have bet already. The Chris Brooks one, it's not even available most places yet, but I'm starting to see it trickle in. It's still a little bit short of where I want it. Again, plus 600, we're going to find something in that range or better. I'm expecting better. I like Spencer Rattler under 190.5 passing plus rushing yards. There are so many ways that this game just goes sideways. Unless it's broken plays or a deep bomb to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, which I don't even know if Spencer Rattler can really throw against this secondary here in Green Bay. They're going to run into massive, massive issues. And I do think New Orleans is going to probably be more of a running back by committee than people expect. I see Kendre Miller's props a little bit high for my liking as well, but I like the idea of shorting Spencer Rattler right now because the bench possibility is so high. Now, New Orleans is done. They're toast. They're eliminated here from playoff consideration. Everybody's still playing for jobs, so I'm expecting the game to play pretty straight up. It's not like anybody here is going to be missed on an NFL roster if the ceiling were to just fall. They're waiting for everybody to come back for next year. But I think 190.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I looked at the rushing and I was like, didn't necessarily fit the bill for me as a positive EV play, but I ran back through the projections and, well, if you basically put him at like 80% of the workload, which fourth quarter benching, they'll probably go to Jake Haener again if I'm expecting a blowout. Spencer Rattler under 190.5 rushing plus passing yards. It's just going to be a disaster for him. So be prepared. He could get benched yet again. I'm definitely not bullish on his props. In fact, have a half unit here on his under in that department. All right, before we get to the lock, I think we just got to do this. Lindy 5-0, super clear cut, super easy. You guys go to the link below. You guys want to get all of my plays, no matter what it ends up in for the NBA or the NFL. You can get it in the Discord at Tails. Now, Tails by OddsShopper, that is basically an app you can also have downloaded alongside it. You get the OddsShopper app over at the Apple Store or Google Chrome Store. You download it. You can get the apps, the notifications sent directly to your phone whenever I bet something. And as soon as I bet something, you'll get that notification to pop up. It'll also go to the Discord. So you guys want to jump into the Discord? 50% off right now with Lindy 5-0. Would love to see you there. $10 for your first week. That would be $25 for your first month. All right, to the lock we go. I brought this up. It's such a mismatch. And that's obviously shown here with these odds. 14, 14 is a gigantic spread. And overall, I think this is always a market that, the top Vegas guys I'm much more prop driven, I think you know that about me by now. That is definitely my specialty, definitely my lane. However, I've been pretty positive EV here with a number of these plays on big spreads in the NFL when I still don't think it's high enough. I've got this at 17 points. I don't see how New Orleans generates offense without broken plays, without Jair Alexander being out, without Green Bay taking this game seriously and coming out and laying a dud. But none of those things are going to happen knowing that Green Bay needs to be at attention early and often in this one, knowing Minnesota's down the pipeline here. They're going to be in the playoffs here. The NFC North is absolutely ridiculous. And I repeat, third in strength of schedule, Green Bay, 27th in strength of schedule for the New Orleans Saints. We are going to see an absolute massacre on Monday night. Green Bay, 2 touchdowns. I'm laying it. Obviously, am I sad I couldn't get 13.5? Yes, it opened at 13.5 minus 115, but it is at 14 minus 110. I'm locking it. It's my favorite spread that I've had in quite some time here. Obviously, Buffalo just failed me as 2 touchdown favorites. Like, they probably should have lost that game if we're being honest. But anyway, no, they shouldn't have lost it, but they just didn't play very well. Green Bay is going to eviscerate New Orleans. So get your popcorn ready. Green Bay laying 2 touchdowns, my favorite play on Monday night. Let's cash it. And that does it for a quick, easy edition of NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks here on Monday night. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this one. I'll be back covering Christmas Day in the NBA and the NFL because, Netflix is a thing and they wanted to jump in and get a piece. Lindy50, you can sign up for that down below. Get all of those plays. Probably going to be out a day before whenever those videos come out because things are going to start dropping here sooner rather than later. We already have some NBA odds for Christmas Day. So I'm going to be breaking those down in depth. I'll get the video out here pretty darn soon. Thank you, producer Jacob. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Monday night.